Honeycomb Aeronautical have just released their Alpha Flight Controls Lite edition. This yoke doesn't have all the bells and whistles of previous editions, and they say it's aimed at entry-level pilots, which is true, but in addition it's likely to appeal to flight simmers at all levels, depending on their use case. Welcome to the Sim Hangar, my name's Mark, thanks very much for watching and let's get started. As we've come to expect from Honeycomb, the product is well packed, able to stand up to the rigours of day-to-day transport. There's an error on the packaging. It says yoke and switch panel. Note the Lite does not have a switch panel. The Alpha Flight Controls Lite is the third rendition of the Alpha yoke. The original Alpha came out quite some time ago and by and large has become a mainstay for flight simmers. Availability is slowly but surely becoming limited, superseded by the Alpha X PC, which offers Xbox compatibility, and now the pared-down Alpha Lite, offering core functionality but at a more competitive price point. Product availability is direct from Honeycomb, either their EU or USA store, link in the notes below, and from Aerosoft, their EU distributor. So how does the Lite version differ from the original Alpha? Instead of the double rocker switches, there's now single rocker switches on the yoke handle. The switch panel, which included 9 two-way switches, that also has been excluded, as has the magneto and start switch on the right-hand side. So let's take a look at the Lite itself. Other than the change to the rocker switches, the yoke handle itself is exactly the same, steel shaft, and the plastic has a rubberized feel to it. The main housing of the unit is made out of a hardened rigid plastic, as is the front grille, and differing from the original Alpha, there's no backlighting. The Alpha Lite is not Xbox compatible. Connection is via USB-C to USB-A, C into the unit and A into the PC. Cable is 1.5 meters long. As the metal shaft is solid, it is connected via a cable from the yoke grip directly to the main body of the housing. It's a tried and tested system and doesn't really get in the way at all. The product comes with a desktop mounting system, but I noticed there's no rubber stick down option for the Lite. The securing method is exactly the same as before, with the center pin slotting into the base of the yoke. The clamping system remains completely unchanged, it's exactly the same, providing suitability for a wide variety of different thickness desks. Taking a quick look at the yoke axes, in the roll or aileron movement, it features full 90 degrees in either direction, so a full 180 degrees rotation. There's a nice tension to the roll via bungee cords, and although there's no center detent, there's a very strong return to center. The yoke is a little bit noisy in the pitch movement. A more push or pull force is required when moving it in and out compared to the roll. As mentioned, it features a very strong return to center, although there's no notch or detent. Once you got it assembled and plugged in, it's a good idea to test it under the Windows calibration facility. I found I didn't have to recalibrate at all, but it's a great option to test all the buttons and switches and so on, make sure everything's working. And everything was, including the 8-point POV switch. Just like other versions of the Alpha, when moving the yoke in the pitch or in and out direction, it is a little bit noisy. But once you got the engines running, you don't really notice it. Here I'm testing the button on the inside of the grip, and it shows as button number 1. I'm now going to run through a quick configuration guide. Timestamps in the notes below if you want to skip this section. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 doesn't currently have any default configurations, but you can download profiles directly from the Honeycomb site, or you can follow along and copy this profile. It's quick and easy, and I'll make it available to my Discord members. So to start off with, let's head over to our controls menu, and if the Alpha Lite is connected, it will show here. The Alpha and the Alpha X PC share profiles, but the Alpha Lite is shown completely separately and has separate profiles. With the Alpha Lite selected, we're going to choose Flight Control Surfaces to start our configuration, then Primary Control Surfaces. Then we're going to scroll all the way down to the end, and we're looking for Elevator Access. There it is. We click in the first box to start scanning. This is elevator or pitch, moving the yoke up or down. Joystick L, axis Y. As this is a new profile, it asks us to enter the name, and I'm going to call it GA Airplanes. You can give it any name that you want. We now want to configure the roll, so we're going to choose aileron axis, click in the box again, and move the yoke It records as axis X. That's all we need to do here. So I'm going to head back to the main menu. And once there, once again I'm going to select Flight Control Surfaces as I did last time. But this time I'm going to select Control Trimming Surfaces. I want to add trim to the elevator. This is a button press, not an axis. So don't select the axis. I'm going to start with elevator trim down, nose down. And once it's scanning, I'm going to press the left-hand rocker switch forward. And it records as button number 6. Now I'm going to select elevator trim up, nose up. Going to select the rocker switch again on the left-hand side and press down. Records as button number 5. Elevator trim done. Now for the other rocker switch, I'm going to select rudder trim, both left and right. Going to follow exactly the same process, pressing the button to the left for left rudder trim and right for right rudder trim, obviously. Buttons 9 and 10. Trim done. Those are all my primary flight controls in place now for my yoke, but I want to take advantage of the POV switch and some of the other buttons, so I'm going to select camera. And my first port of call is going to be camera mode switches. So I can select a button to swap between cockpit and external view. Click in the box so it's scanning. The white button on the left hand side, I'm going to select that. Camera controls fall under the general controls category and not under the airplane's controls category. So I'm going to rename this GA General, GA for General Aviation. Make sure you differentiate the names between general and airplane, so when you export or import, you don't get a conflict. I'm done with camera mode switches. Now heading up to the cockpit camera. I want to select a button for Pilot Reset View, so at any time it's pressed, it returns me to the pilot's position. There it is, Reset Cockpit View. This time I'm going to select the white button on the right hand side. So left will take me in and out of exterior view, and on the right hand side it will reset my position. Records as button number 3. And now so I can look around, I want to configure my POV. You could select quick view. Personally I prefer the look command. There's one I'm looking for, cockpit look down. I'm going to press the POV directly down. And it shows POV with the arrow pointing down. Now I'm going to go ahead and configure look left and look right and then look up, pressing the button as appropriate. Don't select the lockable option or the look down, right, left and so on. There we are, that's done. And last but not least, I also want to look around externally, so I'm going to choose external camera. First I want to reset my view. There it is. I'm going to select the same button I had for cockpit reset view. Click in the box. Button number 3 comes up again. Buttons can have multi-functions. These do not conflict as they're both in separate views. Clicking on the cog icon, you can see what else is allocated to that particular button. Now that I've got a reset view, I'm going to go ahead and set my POV for the external view exactly as I did for the cockpit view. Look down with the POV button pointing down. And once we've completed that, we'll be able to jump into the cockpit and make sure that everything works as intended. Once again, a reminder, make sure you choose look left, look right, not look left down or left lockable. These will not give you the results that you want. There we are, we're done. That's as far as I need to take the configuration. You will note that there's 2 buttons that I haven't configured. That's a small button on the left-hand side and the big red button on the right-hand side, often used for push-to-talk and autopilot. But these are up to you, you can configure them to suit yourself. Let's now test our configuration. Here's the elevator or pitch control. Nose up and then nose down. Roll left, roll right. That all looks fine. Test our button to switch between cockpit and external view. I'm happy with that. Let's now test the button on the right hand side to reset our view. Reset in pilot's position, that's fine. Now using the POV to look around. Looking up, down, left, right and so on. Again, you can set this to quick view if you prefer. Reset pilot view. Now I'm going to switch to the external view again, and once again use the POV to look around. And again I can look up, down, rotate left or right as needed. That's all working fine. Let's head back into the cockpit. Just going to look down so we can have a look at our trim. This aircraft doesn't have rudder trim, but it does have elevator trim, so we can test that. This is our trim wheel here, pushing the left-hand rocker switch forward, that's nose down, and pulling it back, that's nose up. that's all working perfectly. Our yoke has a basic configuration and we're ready to go. Well, almost. There's one more setting that we need to pay attention to. Heading back to our controls menu, Alpha Light selected, select the cog icon, then select hardware settings so we can test our sensitivities. I am using Sim Update 4 Beta on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and this section is a little bit broken, so please bear with me here. Hopefully Asobo will fix this in the not too distant future. This yoke, like many others, is way too sensitive at default setting, as the movement is purely linear. So we just want to turn the sensitivity down a little bit to make it a little bit easier to manage and, quite frankly, more realistic. Before making any changes, let's identify the axes. This is joystick L, axis Y. We can see this movement there, so that is my pitch control or elevator. Let's choose axis X and that will be my roll. There it is. And you can see the movement moving on a linear basis. So I'm going to stay with X and turn down the sensitivity for both left and right roll down to -25. I find this setting works fairly well. You of course must experiment for yourself. I always add in a little bit of dead zone, normally of 0.03 or 0.04. Now to axis Y. Once again I'm going to turn down the sensitivity, this time a little bit more than I did the roll. I'm going to turn this down to 0.4. And once again I'm going to add a dead zone of 0.3 or 0.4. And now finally we can test it. Throttle full forward. Heading down the runway, I'm looking to rotate in and around about 60 knots. Airspeed is alive, monitoring my airspeed, and when I pull back gently on the yoke, I don't want the aircraft to jump off the ground. I'm looking for a gentle nose-up attitude. There we go, that's very nice indeed. Adding a little bit of aileron left and right to keep myself aligned with the runway. Turning down my sensitivity has stopped the aircraft from porpoising up and down with very small movements. Yet I still have pitch control where I need it. This is looking and feeling pretty good. If you want the yoke to be more sensitive than what it is here, then reduce the amount of sensitivity applied. We're still climbing away in a nose-up attitude, but I'm now going to apply a little bit of nose-down trim to reduce the rate of climb. Gentle touches on the elevator trim, nose down and pushing that rocker switch forward of course. That's looking a bit better. Starting to trim out now for a little bit of level flight. Feel I have good roll or aileron control, and we're on our way. So in conclusion, if you're looking for the most ultra-realistic yoke available, look elsewhere. On the other hand, if you're looking for a basic yoke that's well built, likely to provide many years of reliable service, offering a 2-year warranty and 14-day money back, without all the bells and whistles offered by other yokes, then this could be for you. There's little in the way of yokes at the budget end of the market. The nearest competitor is the Logitech GeForce. This comes in considerably cheaper, offers great value for money, but is not as sturdily built. There's a product that just hasn't been updated for many years. The Alpha Lite, priced at £170, offers good value for money in my opinion, and the Alpha Yoke is a welcome addition to the flight sim peripheral market. The yoke itself features no lighting, and I certainly would have liked to have seen at least one LED, so it's immediately obvious when it's switched on. Overall, I must say that I'm impressed with the product, and subsequently I have no hesitation in giving it a full recommendation as an entry-level yoke. As always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you found it useful and informative. And so until next time, stay well, look after yourself, see you again soon, and ciao for now.